Okay, welcome to our Pecha Kucha assignment. I'm here with Samantha Zolis and myself, Brendan Oldman. We've paired up for quite a few things this semester, so we figured we'd end it on a strong note, and we're going to start it off. So we're going to introduce you to Google Calendar, which I know isn't new to a lot of people, but we're going to go over a lot of the benefits for students and teachers. So we're aware that the future of our program in the Bachelor of Ed, it's being driven by the Google Calendar application for organization and scheduling. So it only makes sense to be able to explore it more and be able to present the information to our peers. The idea of having students involved in a management like this is a bit stressful, but for most students, they have a board email, so it shouldn't be, and it's something that students should be able to embrace.
So Google Calendar, it works really similar to other Google Drive elements where you can add anyone with a valid email address to view or edit your post, or your calendar, sorry. And now these individuals that you've added can see your whole 360-day schedule, hour by hour, minute by minute, day by day. And it's so awesome for sharing timely information that needs to be seen by a huge group of people. So, for example, an invitation or an appointment or a huge meeting that you're planning. And I actually tried this when we did this assignment for the time productivity time management, and I was planning my boyfriend's birthday, and rather than texting everyone, I actually got all their emails and I inputted them, and that's how I did the birthday party invitations instead.
Nice, that's awesome, Sam. And you know what? Real quick before we move on, my internship part of this course, I had to use Google Calendar for that, so it was an introduction to me also, so it's very relevant. For slide 3, the best part of this is that individuals can add information, dates, events, and times, and they can request permission to attend or schedule events also. So it's important to remember that if you are on, say, the teacher's Google Calendar, you can edit it if you're allowed to, and you can submit those changes to a teacher. So from a student perspective, it's pretty neat because they can be part of the organization and the management throughout the day.
So it's also amazing for organizing students' vacations and birthdays, any kind of other special accomplishments or other events. And think about how awesome it would be to not have to write that plan on the blackboard or the whiteboard every day. You could just projector it on a smart board, or just using a projector. And now they already have a Google Classroom, which doesn't feel the same way as the calendar does, but it's much more specific of the day overview, and it allows for intervals to reach the learners that need to know what's happening all the time. So for example, children with ADD, ADHD, or students who could really use the structure, benefit from it.
So if that doesn't sell you enough, how's about the idea of having your own digital copies of your work for your students? So the sheets, the pretest, the assignments, even peer assignments, they can be added or integrated to dates or events. So basically, Google Calendar allows you to set attachments to either a time, an event, or a date. So you can maybe even have like a pretest or a post-test or a quiz. You could even provide your students with a digital link.
Oh, smart clock. We want you to think about the dynamics of the classroom if an ordinary clock on the wall was now wirelessly and digitally upgraded and synced with Google Calendar. So how awesome would it be for your students to manage the day, allow for updates and changes to happen school-wide? Everyone in the school would know where everyone is all the time and what they were currently up to. It would be awesome.
That is awesome, Sam. And honestly, we truly believe that that's the future of education. There's a huge initiative right now where college and university students around the world are developing smart products to make the management of your day easier. So being able to enhance a classroom of 30 plus students would be amazing, especially if those students really need an itinerary or a day plan to give them either motivation or be able to give them the ability to process change throughout the day. So many students we know are suffering from anxiety, and something like a smart clock with integrated Google Calendar could really alleviate that anxiety.
So Kickstarter actually had hundreds of startups relevant to smart technology, but a really few number of them succeed to make it into the actual market. And we're positive that the next best smart clock is just around the corner, with nearly 500 different projects, and mainly those related to personal devices in the works.
Sorry, I was laughing at that image. I think it's really funny because it's kind of exactly what we're up to. So, you know what? We decided to shift the focus after overviewing some really neat freeware software. So we've kind of talked about Google Calendar. We've talked a little bit about how smart clocks are being developed, and they're all over the internet right now as far as fundraising campaigns. And we really do see that as the future. And currently, Raspberry Pi and Pi is basically circuit boards that kids are able to develop computers, and they're actually developing their own clocks. And this image here is actually a class-made smart clock, obviously with a lot of teacher assistance, but it's pretty cool to see where it's going. So it's very maker lab-esque in a way.
That's awesome. And so according to the Horizon report, we're tasked with really using technology as a new age educator, and it really does strive to promote things on screen. So all these are vital and work hand in hand to promote inclusive, welcoming, accessible classrooms for the masses of classes. And we introduce the technology, even something as simple as a means to organize your class, we have to stay aware of the types of learners we might have in our classroom. So do the tech tools work the same way for those students experiencing physical impairments or disabilities?
And this is where our Pecha kind of shifts a little bit, and we're doing quite a bit here. We're looking to introduce the Google Calendar. We're speaking to the benefits of that as far as the management, the technology accessibility with that, but then also keeping in mind our learners. And we're going to showcase now a few different kinds of learners that have physical impairments or disabilities. So we're going to start with cerebral palsy. It's a disorder that affects the muscle movements and motor skills, and it gravely impairs the coordination of moving, which can affect the body in numerous ways. It's an early childhood condition, and it usually affects newborns or toddlers, toddler stage children through brain damage.
So the next one, spina bifida, is a physical impairment that happens at birth, and it's caused by a lack of development in the bones of the spine, and the spinal cord, they don't align. And there's different conditions of this, so there's sometimes more intense, sometimes not, and some still have motor skills, some don't. And we have to remain really considerate and understanding of these abilities in our students, even those that look physically able to complete a task, and you really don't know what that learner is capable of or what experiences they've had, because everyone with disabilities is affected in.
And you know what? I think that image is just really great too, the one that you were just speaking to, Sam, because it really speaks to, you don't really know your learners until you really know where they come from. That past image, you might think that girl maybe sprained her ankle or maybe has something wrong with her leg, but she's been living with it her whole life. So muscular dystrophy, it's a condition where body parts start to deteriorate or waste away. It might not affect children until they are a toddler, so age 3, 4, or 5, so they might develop perfectly normal up till that point. They'll have difficulty walking, raising their feet, and in a lot of ways their whole body is just weak. This results in a lot of falling, and usually by the age of 10 or 12, the child is bound to a wheelchair because it's very difficult for them to move. This also leads to respiratory and breathing issues as well, so it's something that we just really need to be aware of with the diverse learners in our classroom.
So other kinds of injuries or impairments can happen after birth, and we don't really think about students who maybe are suffering from a big change, or maybe like they've been in a vehicle accident and are now in a wheelchair, maybe they've lost a limb or have suffered brain damage. And the next 5 images and the wrap-up to our assignment, it's kind of a showcasing of some amazing, accessible, and innovative applications that students with the impairments that we mentioned can use to succeed and manage their actions better with certain parts of education.
That's right, and something that we found, we spent a lot of time the past week or two kind of looking for something that was a one-all to be able to get our whole presentation in, and we found a few different things, and we really wanted to showcase this accessibility app. And it's actually it's kind of a company now which develops multiple apps, but they're referred to as Panther. And the reason behind showcasing this technology is because we feel it is important to identify this in a digital literacy course, as it is directly related to literacy in a physical sense for those that cannot do things physically and need digital technology to complete those tasks, i.e. either an app or a robot. So basically, Panther is it's basically, we're going to go through Panther Math and Panther Cursor and just talk a little bit more about the benefits. And Richard Elson, he's actually a big person in this field in accessibility, and he was the creator and founder of this.
So the mission of Panther Apps is to unleash potential, quote unquote. Turns your iPad into a sensory control for a computer, or kind of like a mouse. So the iPad is now essentially working as a touch button, and it has integration with you can customize your options for your trackpad, and so now the mouse acts based on your exact precise movement and location that you press on the touch screen on the tablet. And the movements can be fine-tuned with the rabbit or the turtle feature, so slower or faster, closer or farther. It's really just customized for individuality, and it's super accurate and awesome.
That's great, Sam. And I realize we kind of jumbled our images here, so I'm going to blow up image 17, which is labeled as 18 here. So, so it gives you the ability to copy, paste, and cut, which is a simple touch feature for many of us. We don't think about this, but for many who have a physical impairment who can't use a touch screen accurately, this is something that they do deal with. So you can actually add buttons to be able to make your cutting and copying a lot easier, similar to how it is in Microsoft Word at the top. You can also add applications or prompt buttons to be able to open internet options or video games, documents, or music. So it just makes the students, it basically makes it more accessible, and it gives them easy navigation options. You can use this program for any problem, really. And yeah, Sam's going to kind of introduce our next version, which is the mathematics.
So, based on insight from Universal Design, it's intuitive to use, and the interface is designed to only give you what you need to succeed. So that means it's good for beginners, it's great for educational learning, and great to continue succeeding with or growing with. So it doesn't cut you off or anything. It can be used for formal testing, and math paper is what it's called. It does not serve as a calculator. It's not a calculator. It doesn't do it for you. It can be used for, it's a viable alternative, and students can still learn as they would using a pencil and paper. That's what's so awesome about it. So there's also creating functions, adding, subtracting, dividing, and multiplying. There's special predictive cursor where the app predicts what place value you may want your next number to go into, and it allows for less precise motions to be able to add manipulatives or numerals to the problem. It also has a note feature where students can write things, little notes on the side, and students can even create little tests for themselves, and it's Wi-Fi and Bluetooth device. It can sync with the teacher's device as well, and students who can't hold a pencil can do independent work, class assignments, and they can enhance their true individual ability to work independently and without the amount of support that we'd assume that they would need.
I think that's the biggest thing too, is it really allows students to really be independent, and that's the thing that the creator really strives for. As he has a son, later in his 40s he had a son, and his son ends up having cerebral palsy, so all of his efforts and work in assistive technology ends up being very relevant later in life. So we're going to wrap up this Pecha Kucha with our final picture here, which we found to be very humorous because we're in a digital literacy course. So we feel that everything covered here is very wide and broad in a lot of ways, and of course we could use a lot more time diving into each thing independently, but we really did enjoy this project. We also feel that we know that what we know matters when it comes to assistive technology and being able to give students an ability to organize their day and connect with your organization as a teacher too. Give them more insight into what exactly is happening throughout the day. So technology, of course, will always have obstacles to overcome, and it'll always present us with new challenges, especially hindering accessibility. So we always just need to remain diligent and aware, and that's why we took our PechaKucha in the direction we did, and we hope you enjoyed it. And I think that's it. Anything else you want to add, Sam? Are we good?
Should we hashtag Panther Technology?
Hashtag Panther. Right on.